I wanted to talk about finding your niche. I follow a lot of business blogs and YouTube channels and newsletters and whatever. Since I'm an entrepreneur with my Cryonaut Media business, I like to see what those guys have to say and get their tips and stuff for a lot of different things. And one thing that I've been seeing a lot of lately is how to find your niche. Now, for a business, this is really important, especially when you're starting out. You need to figure out how you are different from your competitors. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense. If you try and do the same thing someone else does, how are you going to succeed versus them, So, like, one good example I've seen a lot is something like if you wanted to start a coffee shop. Um, there's a lot of good ones out there already. So, if you walk into a Starbucks and think, hey, this looks really cool and pretty easy to do, I could copy this, and you go out and make your own coffee shop and turn it just like Starbucks, you've already lost. You can't compete with something like Starbucks that's already very well established, has a ton of money, and has a huge loyal customer base already. Um, People walk into your shop, they're going to think, well, this doesn't sound any better than Starbucks, this doesn't look any better. Why would I go there? You may get a few customers, but you're not going to get overwhelming success like you probably want. Now, if you have a coffee shop where you do something very different, let's say you have like crayons and colored pencils throughout the shop, and you let people make art and create drawings and whatever they do in there, and then you put them on the wall in like framed, painting things, in like framed artwork. Don't just plaster it all over the place, but make it actually seem special. That's a different idea that, maybe no one else is doing. Maybe that would work. But something like that where you have your own very unique idea. Um, Now, a lot of people that are watching this are probably not going to be very happy with what I'm going to say, but if you are trying to do anything where you're trying to build an audience, you need to treat it like a business. Um, if you're a musician and you want to gain a fan base, you want to play live shows, you need to treat it like a business. And one of the most important things to do in making and treating it like a business is to find your niche. Um, there are very few producers, and probably none when they started out, that made a whole bunch of different genres, all kinds of different styles of music, and were successful. I feel like pretty much everyone started out and got really good at one or two, maybe two genres, and then progressed through them and got better and better, and then maybe they branched out. But when they started out, they probably stuck with just one. And that's where you kind of find your niche. Now, if you started producing music, 5 or 6 years ago, some of the big names out there were like Deadmau5 and Skrillex. If you heard some Deadmau5 music and decided, hey, that's really cool, I want to make that, and then you proceeded to go out and make music just like Deadmau5's music, you've already lost. You can't compete with someone as big as Deadmau5 by making the same exact thing as he does. He's the greatest at it because he's been doing it for so long. I'm not saying he's the greatest producer ever. He's the greatest at being Deadmau5. Um, so yeah. So instead, what you want to do is go out and make music that's like Deadmau5's, but is a bit different still, or like Skrillex, but a bit different. Or pick any genre that's out there right now, any famous artist. You want to be like them in a way, but find your own voice. You have to be a little bit different. And what that means is totally up to you. It could be your live show is unique. It could be your style of music is a little bit different. Maybe your voice is different if you sing, or just whatever you want to do with it. It's going to be a little bit different. Um, so one of the easiest ways to find your niche, because a lot of times that's really confusing and doesn't make much sense. I still have trouble with that sometimes, but I definitely had a lot of trouble with it for a long time. The best way to find your niche, especially if you don't know, is to try a lot of different things. Some people say like throw a whole bunch of stuff against the wall and see what sticks. If you are making music, try making a whole bunch of different genres and see which ones you like the best. If you have somewhat of a fan base, see which ones that you like, but also resonate with your fans. Um, just like with starting a business, you need to try all kinds of different things. And so for me, if you have been watching Cryonaut Media, I started out, I've used Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these different social media things. I started out writing blogs for my website. I did a couple guest posts for some other people with writing blogs. Those did okay. I didn't love it that much, so I decided to try making videos. Um, that has been doing a bit better. I like it a lot more, and I'm getting better at it. I'm getting a decent amount of views on some of them, so that's starting to do pretty well. I also decided to start live streaming with Twitch. Um, I haven't been doing it very long, but that's not going that well yet. So I'm trying to reevaluate and see if that's worth doing now. But that's just an example of, trying all these different things and seeing which ones I like and which ones work well, because those are both very important things to finding your niche. Now, for music, I started out kind of making sort of progressive house, but also dubstep, trying to figure out which ones I liked at all. Turns out that I'm not that great at making dubstep. Definitely wasn't back then either. But then I discovered, like future bass, future house, that kind of music. And I've been really focusing on that lately, and I feel like I'm doing a lot better now. And I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm starting to put my music out there a little bit more, and people are liking it a little bit. So that's the direction I'm going to be moving in with with Cryogen. It's more future house type stuff. And I feel like I like it a lot, and it's somewhat successful. So I feel like that's the best path for me. So that's what I've been doing to find my niche and try to stand out a little bit, from all the noise out there. So hopefully that helps you kind of figure out how you can find your niche and how you can stand out a little bit. There's a lot of stuff there, and I know not everyone's going to agree with it, and that's okay. Um, Ignore all the people that are hating on everybody else. Just do what you like, and eventually, you'll just keep working to get your big break.